Let's make it clear from the beginning. Kindness alone is not enough to survive in this world. If you think that being a good person is enough to achieve success, you are living in a fantasy. And the worst part is, you know this, even if you refuse to accept it. How many times have you felt like others were stepping on you? How many times have you done the right thing and instead of receiving recognition, you were ignored or worse, used? You were taught to believe that being good is enough, that honesty and nobility are rewarded. But reality is different. The world does not reward the good. It rewards those who know how to play their cards right. And this is where Machiavelli comes in. Machiavelli understood something most people ignore. Human nature is selfish, fickle, and cruel. When necessary, he made it clear that virtue without cunning is weakness, that kindness without strategy is a trap. And now tell me, how many times have you fallen into that trap? Think about those you admire, those who achieved great things. Do you think they got there with just good intentions? No. They got there because they knew how to move in the shadows when necessary, because they understood. That morality is not an obstacle, but a tool. Knowing when to show it and when to hide it is the difference between being a player and being a piece on the board. The problem isn't that you're good. The problem is that you don't know how to protect yourself. You believe others are playing by the same rules as you, but they're not. The world is full of predators disguised as friends, of opportunists who can spot the naive from afar, and without realizing it, you've been the perfect target. This is where Machiavelli offers an alternative: intelligent kindness. It's not about becoming a villain. It's not about betraying your principles. It's about understanding that kindness must come with a deep understanding of reality. It's about learning to read people, predict their intentions, know when to trust, and when to keep your guard up. Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. And you, what did you choose? Surely you chose to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen as harmless. But tell me, what did you gain from that? Not respect, not power. What you gained is that others now know they can use you without consequences, because kindness without strength does not inspire admiration, it inspires pity. Don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to learn how to be good without being naive. Understand that the world doesn't reward the righteous, it rewards the cunning. True virtue is not submission, but the ability to balance ethics with pragmatism. Machiavelli taught that image is everything. It's not just about who you are, but what others perceive you to be. If you appear weak, you will be treated as weak. If you appear strong, you will be treated with respect. How many times have you allowed others to disrespect you out of fear of losing their approval? How many times have you stayed silent to avoid conflict, only to realize that this cost you more than it saves? It's not about being cruel, it's about being strategic. The key is knowing when to act, when to speak, when to retreat, and when to strike. Kindness is an advantage when used correctly, but if you let it run wild, it becomes your enemy. The mistake many good people make is thinking the world values purity of heart. It doesn't. The world values power, safety, the ability to make hard decisions. Kindness is respected only when it comes with authority. If you don't have power, your kindness is irrelevant. Machiavelli would tell you not to be a lamb in a world of wolves, not to let your morality turn you into a slave. True virtue is not submission, it is intelligence. It's not about adapting passively, but about shaping the environment to your favor. Think about it. How much longer will you let the world walk all over you? How much longer will you be a victim of your own naivety? I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to start being good in a way that benefits you. Learn to move in the shadows when necessary. Know when to smile and when to show your teeth. Because the world is not fair, but you can learn to play by its rules and still stay true to yourself. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to teach you how to be evil. He wrote it to teach you how to survive. So now tell me, will you keep living in the illusion that kindness is enough? Or will you start applying true intelligence? Perception of power is a concept that few understand. It's not enough to be strong. You have to appear strong. It's not enough to be intelligent. You have to project intelligence. Because in this world, reality matters less than how others perceive you. Think about it. How many times have you seen an incompetent person go further than a talented one? How many times have you seen a manipulator rise while a noble, hardworking person stays stuck? That's no accident. People don't follow the good or the just. They follow those who appear to be in control, those who know how to manage their image, who project authority, who, even without all the you answers, act as if they do. And this is where many fail. They believe the truth alone is enough, that true competence will speak for itself. But the world doesn't work that way. The world doesn't reward those who are right. It rewards those who know how to sell their version of the truth. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It's not just about who you are. It's about who others believe you are. Perception is everything. An insecure leader inspires no confidence, even if they're the most prepared. A worker who doesn't know how to be noticed will never be promoted, even if they're the best. A man or woman who doesn't project value will never be desired, even if they have much to offer. That's why the key lies not just in being, but in mastering the narrative about yourself, learning to control your image, to create the right impression in every situation. It's not about deceiving. It's about directing others' attention to what you want them to see. Think about it. In any social interaction, people don't perceive reality as it is. They perceive it through filters of assumptions, biases, and emotions. And the question is, will you let those filters work against you, or will you use them in your favor? If you are good but seem weak, they will treat you as weak. If you are just but seem soft, they will walk all over you. If you are talented but seem insecure, you will be ignored. It's that simple. The art of perception is what separates those who control their destiny from those who are controlled by others. And now we enter a darker but necessary area, the control of information. Have you ever wondered why the most powerful always seem to know something others don't? Why those who dominate the game always seem to have an advantage? The answer is simple, because they know when to speak and when to remain silent. Naive people believe that absolute honesty is a virtue, that always saying what they think and sharing everything they know is the right thing to do. But in reality, information is power, and you can't give away power without consequences. Machiavelli said that a prince must know how to hide his true intentions, not because he must be a liar, but because in a world where everyone is looking for an edge, those who reveal too much become vulnerable. Learn to control what you share, to say only what is necessary and nothing more. Maintain a certain mystery. Make people wonder what you're really thinking, because the moment you become completely predictable, the moment others can anticipate your every move, you lose any strategic advantage you may have had. The greatest players in history, in politics, in business, in the arts, in any field, understood this. Strategic silence is as powerful as speech. Think of someone you admire, someone with true influence. Are they someone who says everything, who fully exposes themselves, or someone who always leaves something in the shadows, who always has a hidden card? The problem with many people is that they confuse transparency with weakness. They believe that if they don't reveal everything, they're being dishonest. But it's not about lying. It's about controlling the flow of information in your favor. Think about it. How many times have you said too much and it hurt you? How many times have you trusted the wrong person, revealing something that was later used against you? How many times have you offered explanations no one asked for, just to justify yourself to people who didn't deserve it? Power is not in speaking more. Power is in knowing when to speak and when to be silent. And here comes the great lesson that almost no one applies. Those who speak less, who explain less, command more respect. Why? Because silence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates curiosity. And curiosity gives you power. If you always say what you think without filter, people will lose interest. If you always explain your actions, people will assume you need to justify yourself. But when you only speak when necessary, when you choose your words carefully, when you leave room for interpretation, people will start paying real attention to you. And here comes another fundamental concept, the art of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. If you always act the same way, if your responses, emotions, and decisions are always expected, others will anticipate your moves and use you. But when you're unpredictable, when people never know your next move, you become dangerous. And when you're dangerous, they respect you. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A leader who can be read like an open book is a weak leader, but a leader who maintains a certain level of mystery, who changes when necessary, who never lets others define him, that is the leader who remains in power. And now the question is, do you want to continue being an open book that anyone can read, manipulate, and take advantage of? Or do you want to start being a strategist, someone who controls their image, their information, and their unpredictability for their own benefit? Because kindness without strategy is merely an invitation to be devoured. The world doesn't change its rules for you, so learn to play by the rules that actually exist, not the ones you were made to believe in. And if you do this well, if you apply what truly works, then for the first time, you will stop being a victim of the system and begin to be one of those who dominate it. But here comes the most interesting part, the art of strategic distance. Many believe the key to power is always being present, being omnipresent, making yourself noticed at every moment. But the reality is different. Those who are excessively available lose their value. Scarcity creates desire. Absence creates impact. Think about it. Why do certain people command more respect simply by being present, while others, no matter how hard they try, never seem to assert authority? The difference lies in the perception of their value. Machiavelli said that a prince should avoid becoming excessively accessible, not because he should despise his people, but because excessive familiarity destroys respect. When you're always there, when you give without limit, people begin to treat your presence, your effort, your generosity as guaranteed. And this applies not only to politics or power, but to relationships, professional life, and life itself. When you give too much, you become disposable. When you're always available, you become a resource, not a person of value. Think about it. How many times have you given everything to someone only to be ignored? How many times have you been there for everyone only to realize that when you needed someone, no one was there for you? It's not by chance. Human nature is like this. What is abundant is disregarded. What is scarce is valued. That's why you must learn to regulate your presence, dose your attention, manage the perception of your availability. Don't always reply immediately. Don't always be within everyone's reach. Make your absence noticed. Make your presence valued. Because when you learn to disappear at the right moment, when you learn to regulate your energy, people will start looking for you. The problem is that most people are afraid to disappear. They fear that if they distance themselves, they will be forgotten. But here is the harsh truth. If the only way to be remembered is by always being present, then you were never truly valuable. Those who truly have impact are not the ones who shout the loudest, but the ones who know how to handle silence, who know when to retreat and when to reappear. Look at any great figure in history. The true players are not everywhere. They don't exhaust themselves in every battle. They appear when it truly matters. And when they do, everyone pays attention. And that brings us to another key point, emotional control as a tool of power. This is where most people fail. They believe control is based on force, aggression, on imposing themselves with a loud voice and clenched fists. But true mastery, the kind Machiavelli understood better than anyone, is in absolute control over emotions. Because those who lose control, who react impulsively, who are driven by anger or anxiety, become predictable, manipulable, and weak. Think about the last time someone made you lose your composure. The moment you got angry, the moment you reacted without thinking, who had the power in that situation? It wasn't you. It was the person who threw you off balance, who provoked your reaction. Because those who control your emotions control your actions. And here's the key. The one who cannot be provoked, who keeps their center no matter what happens, that is the one who truly holds power. Whether it's in an argument, a negotiation, a relationship, or any social interaction, whoever maintains emotional control always wins. Because those who control their emotions control how others perceive them. Machiavelli made it clear. A prudent man must act at all times with coldness and calculation. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being a slave to what you feel. It's not about being a reactive animal that anyone can manipulate. And if you apply this correctly, you become impenetrable. Others may try to provoke you, to mess with you, but if they can't destabilize your center, if they can't predict how you will react, they lose control over you. Here's the truth. Those who truly master the game are not the strongest. They are the ones who remain calm while everyone else is losing their heads. And that brings us to the final key point, the power of strategic patience. Most people want immediate results. They want success now, respect now, power now. But what Machiavelli taught, what the great players of history have applied again and again, is that true power does not belong to those who act impulsively, but to those who know how to wait for the perfect moment to act. The world is full of people who rush, who act without thinking, who make decisions without considering long-term consequences. But those who truly control the game know how to wait. They know how to observe. They know how to calculate. Think of a hunter. He doesn't shoot at the first movement. He observes, measures the distance, waits for the exact moment. Only when the moment is perfect does he shoot. That is the game of power. It's not always the one who moves first who wins. It's the one who moves at the right time. Machiavelli said that true virtue favors those who know how to adapt to circumstances. It's not about running in all directions. It's about knowing when to speed up and when to slow down. Mediocre people act on impulse. Strategists wait for their opportunity. And now I ask you, are you someone who rushes without thinking, or someone who waits for the right moment to act with surgical precision? Because in this world, power doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the smartest. Those who know how to handle perception, information, distance, emotional control, and patience. And if you apply all of this, you will stop being a victim of the game and start being a true player. The world will remain ruthless. But now, you will know how to play by its rules. And here comes what truly makes the difference between those who merely survive and those who dominate. Their fate, the ability to become an anomaly in the system. Because now you know. Now you understand that kindness alone is not enough. That perception is everything. That emotional control is a tool of power. That strategic patience beats impulsiveness. And that scarcity increases your value. But what good is all of this if you keep acting like everyone else up until now? If you want different results, you must become someone who doesn't conform to traditional rules, not in the sense of breaking them without purpose, but in the sense of rewriting the script. The problem with most people is that they think within the limits that were imposed on them. They follow the same patterns, react as expected, move within what is acceptable or expected. But those who truly leave their mark, who change the game, in their favor are the ones who dare to be unpredictable, the ones who play with new rules, the ones who do what no one expected. And here is the great secret. The world is designed to devour those who conform. If you do what everyone else does, you'll get the same results as everyone else, and that means mediocrity. That means being just another forgotten name in the endless flow of time. The only way to win is to break the mold, be the one who acts differently, the one who doesn't react as others expect, the one who always has a hidden card, the one who is never fully understood or anticipated. Be the one who, when speaks, people listen, because your word is not cheap. When you learn this, something inside you changes. You realize you were never weak. You just weren't playing with the right strategy. You realize people weren't ignoring you because you lacked value, but because you never knew how to project your value. But now you know, and knowing this is dangerous, because the moment you apply it, there's no turning back. The moment you begin to control your presence, your image, manage information as a tool, and use silence as a weapon, you'll start to notice how the world reacts differently to you. The people who once ignored you will begin to pay attention. Those who underestimated you will begin to wonder what changed in you. Those who once manipulated you will begin to fear crossing you, because you are no longer the same. Now you are someone who understands how the game board works. And here comes the most important decision. Will you apply this, or will you return to ignorance? Because what separates those who thrive from those left behind is not knowledge, it's action. You can stay here, with this information floating in your mind as an interesting but harmless idea, or you can start implementing it. The choice is yours. But I'll warn you of something. If you go back, if you keep acting as before, you'll do it with the awareness that you are choosing to be invisible, choosing to remain ignored. Or you can start changing now. Small moves, small attempts. Add a little mystery to your interactions. Control your urge to overshare. Respond calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Step back at the right time. Observe in silence instead of rushing without strategy. Small actions that, over time, change how others perceive you. Small actions that, before you realize it, will have transformed you into someone who can no longer be ignored. Because the world doesn't remember those who merely existed. It remembers those who knew how to play the game. And now I ask you, are you ready to play? If you made it this far, I want to know who truly understood the message. Leave the phrase "power is in silence" in the comments, and let's see how many of you really understand what it means to move with strategy. And if this video made you question something, if it made you see things from a different perspective, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. See you in the next video. And remember, don't just be another player in the system, be the one who writes the rules.